Welcome back to Relationship Wednesday Life and Style. We are on Talk to Pastor Chris. Well, I hope the holidays are okay for you. Everything is going on fine, because today we want to talk about the impact and the effect of that holidays on you, especially concerning your children. What are they supposed to be doing? What are you supposed to be doing with them? How are you supposed to relate with them? Because the November, December holidays are usually very long, and sometimes parents don't know what to do with their children. Remember to follow us on our social media platforms at KTN_Life_ for both Twitter, Instagram, and KTN Life and Style for Facebook. The hashtag for the conversations, because we want to know your thoughts and your views, even your questions. The hashtag is KTN Life and Style, and the hashtag Talk to Pastor Chris. So the holidays have been here, quite a long holiday. You know, I'm a parent of more, and they're quite grown up, and so just having them there, it's fun. It's fun having them, you know, after having them being in school for so long. It's fun, but it comes also with its own challenges. What is the greatest fear of parents having children home for that long?
Well, for me, I have 3 children. I have a 25-year-old, 23-year-old, and a 15-year-old. And so the only one now I can say is at home is the boarder, the 15-year-old who is back from school. So from personal experience and what parents are talking about, number one, they're concerned about the food. And then the food budget is going to rocket, you know. And then also, here they are at home. So much time. What do we do? How do we engage them? And of course, with all that has been happening to our young children, the teenagers, you have all these reports of alcohol, drug, and sex, you know, all over. So we really need to get a plan in place of how we are going to positively engage our children so that they don't have a lot of time on their hands and they don't know what to do. Let's remember also that when you have nothing to do, then you are open to so much that could influence you with the internet here, and with the parents at work who is supervising what they are watching, you know, what they are reading. So yeah, I guess those are some of the fears that we as parents are having at this time. Yet we are so happy to have them home, but we are like, oh God, you know. Yeah, but we'll manage. We can manage.
Myself, my greatest challenge is that, you know, a 6-year-old young boy is discovering everything. So it means that he needs to be monitored, especially when now they join hands with the younger brother. They are engineers. They want to test everything. So they are requiring, you know, monitoring every time. They need to be checked. If you miss them for a single minute, you want to know what they are doing. So that is the greatest challenge. And also breakages. Yeah, now they are turning their house upside down, and you need to make sure that the TV as well, you know, is still where it is supposed to be. So those are some of the challenges that myself and other people who are having.
Children at that age.
Yeah.
Rose.
I think the greatest challenge where I am at, because my firstborn is 6-year-old, the other one is 3-year-old, what to fill up their daily routine with, because now they had a routine whereby they used to go to school, but right now they're at home and they're very curious. They're asking everything, they want to test everything, just like Mwangi has said. So you have to come up with a program to fill their days. And again, my greatest fear as a parent is to imagine that when I'm here, they're just watching TV, or I've given them, you know, internet, they're just on internet and all that. So we have to come up with a way of ensuring, as much as, because they don't sleep during the day, you'd imagine when they're not doing something, they're sleeping.
Because to most children, being on holiday is prison break. I mean, in fact, they don't want to see books. They have been studying, they have been in school, they've been going through the regiments of, you know, from one session to the other. So they feel when they come home, it's freedom time. So how do you balance that they need to enjoy their holiday, but you still need to make them productive? Because again, they'll go back to school. So they have all this time. You need to do the monitoring, yes. But again, they're on holiday. They were coming home, you know, they were so excited. So.
One thing, I was talking to my friend here, Rose, and we were talking about maintaining the routine they are used to and still helping them to manage their time well. For example, they are used to waking up early, maybe clean their face, brush their teeth, and then go to school. But this time around, they can still maybe probably wake up not very early in the morning. Considerable, yeah, they're on holiday.
I'm trying to understand that. You know?
Yeah. But by the way, for example, my son wakes up early almost every day because there's something that he wants to catch. There's a program he watches around 6:30 in the morning,
What?
whether he is going to school or he's not going to school. It is
Really?
called How It Is Made. How it is made. How it's made.
Okay.
It's an engineering kind of. It shows how things are made. He is curious. So when now the difference is that now when he watches that cartoon, that program, nobody is telling him to hurry up and go to school. So they maintain that routine because you need it in January when they are going back to school. But now after that now you program him or her with now some household chores. There are some things that we can let our children do. For example, arranging the house. When they are sleeping, when we're going to sleep in the evening, the house is upside down. Everything is not, the cushions, the toys are everywhere. So the first thing after taking breakfast, they put the house in order. Then from there now, they can now be asked to. It is good to ask them what they want to do because the moment you force them into, doing things, they will rebel and they will even cause more chaos. Yeah. So from there now, maybe they can watch cartoon and maybe later some time for to play with other kids. So we are just help them manage time. It might not have a lot of impact, yeah, to us as parents, but at least to them, they know there's time for everything. Yeah.
Melke, you've got a teenager, you've got children who are in their 20s, and does it get easier as they grow older?
I wouldn't say it does get easier because every stage of this child is a different challenge, So for the older ones, as much as yes, they are beyond 18, you still need to have some control. As long as you're living in my house, we live under my terms. So there, you get to know what are they doing, what are they up to. And I guess this is where friendship with our children comes in because we can be able to engage, discussing, talk, and from there you are able to pick out some things that you need to correct. Too much freedom can be poison to our children. And I think that's where you are coming in for the young ones to really engage them on what they are doing. And
But that's applicable. It can be applicable even for the older ones,
oh
right?
yes, of course. Oh
Where
yes,
you
of
keep
course.
on engaging them.
Yes, engage them. Because who are they interacting out there? Who is their influencer? Are you as a parent the influencer or who influences them? That plays a very big role in their molding because you still need to mold at whatever age. I think your child is still your child. And parenting is a full-time job at whatever age you are. So I guess it doesn't get easier. In fact, I think even the older ones, you get some very heavy challenges.
All right. Parents, do you think that as parents we are used to running away from our roles? We pay fees, we pay for the bus, or anybody else. We pay the nanny, so the nanny takes care of this, the school takes care of that. When children come home, it's a reflection of how unprepared we are in our parenthood. Do you think?
Yeah, I think that is now where the main challenge comes in, whereby now you can hear so many parents are complaining, what am I going to do with them for these 2 months?
They're your children, for heaven's sake.
Exactly, but that is what is happening. Whenever the school closes, you hear someone, but they'll be here for like 2 months. What am I going to do with them? But one thing I've learned, children do not really learn by what you tell them. It's by what you do yourself. Because they'll even challenge you and tell you, Mommy, like, I was giving him an example. In my house, we don't do TV from Monday to Thursday because I realize it's taking a lot of their time. They're not able to do.
That.
Yeah, they're not able.
Of course, apart from Life and Style.
Yeah.
After Life and Style, TV off.
Exactly. Like we do TV off because I realize the older one cannot be able to do her homework in the evening, watch TV, and shower at the same time, and be able to keep up with the time of sleep. So we agreed with them. We will not be doing TV from Monday to Thursday. Then over time, they challenged us and told us, there's no way you can be telling us we are not doing TV from Monday to Thursday, but when you come from work, you are always on your phone. So we need to do it two-way. Like when you go to the house, no phones, no internet for you until we all go to sleep. And you realize as much as you are telling them not to do, it's about you. It's monkey see, monkey do. And you realize a parent has so much impact on their children. And another thing, what to do with them. Most of the time we pack them and take them to the village or for holidays or take them to their grandmothers to be there. And I feel
so that we remain free. Yeah?
Free.
We can keep on doing stuff.
Exactly. And I feel parenting is all about presence. Let them be there. Let them learn from you, not from other people. Because you realize, and I give a good example from my own children, they ask you so many things. And if at all they're in that asking period, and the people to answer those questions are not the two of you, then things can go so wrong.
They'll start asking from elsewhere.
Exactly,
Yeah,
and they can get very negative information.
There are two ways to look at that. Number one, we have parents who are taking it as a burden. Oh my goodness, 2 months, that's a long time. There are kids who are used to absent parents. So even if you just take me to my grandma, I'll be okay. There are others that don't try to take me anywhere. I am staying with you because you are my parents. So you find that it depends on how the kids are used to.
But, you know, I want to bring out something, sorry to interject. When you talk about the children who are used to their parents being away, they may have adapted, but I don't think that that is how it's supposed to be.
It is not supposed to be. It is not
Because
supposed to be.
eventually
Yeah.
that thing will show up in different ways. When they get used to the fact that, and I think it's very dangerous as a parent to think that your child is used to your absence, because later on you may try to relate with the child and they don't want you at all, or they deal with self-esteem issues. Sometimes they've just accepted in themselves, they think they're not wanted. So you find that they have either connected to friends or other people more. So for the parents out over there, please don't make your children get used to your absence.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, and during the closing day, a speaker challenged us and told us that we've been with your kids for about 2 months. Now, we have tried our part. Now, if it is a burden, then we are taking the burden back to until January. You see? So it depends on how you take your kids. For example, there are kids who cannot, accept any offer or even spending a night outside. But it depends on how you connect. The way Rose is saying, if you just come to the house and you are on your phone, these kids will try to fill that space with something else. They can be even breaking things intentionally to get your attention. Yeah. So if you want, even sometimes playing with them. For example, boys are very playful. They are always doing something, and that is what I've learned. Bringing up boys. Sometimes they want you to just bend on the floor, and drive with them that toy car. In the process of driving and moving that toy car, you are communicating. You see them trying to touch the socket, you tell, that will,
But then the parent is feeling like, my goodness, I played with you for 30 minutes, that's enough.
Yeah.
That's because we always feel like there's something more important to do. There's always something else that is urgent, important, and we feel we are doing that for our children until something happens to the children, and then everything you've been doing loses meaning. Then now you want to spend all the time with your children, and sometimes they no longer can spend the time with you. Yeah. How is it, when you're getting to the place of, so you've got these teenagers, like the 15-year-olds, so you get a teenager, they're coming in, they're defining their own world, they're defining their own space. What is the parent supposed to do?
Well, number one, I would say for us it was really a challenge for all the three when they get to that age. Then you come to realize that you cannot delegate your duty as a parent. And then I realized I'm not a perfect parent, and I don't think there is any out there. But then you realize sometimes you need to come down to their level, you as a parent, for you to be able to understand what this child is going through. When I look at my teenagehood, I don't feel like it was really a challenge. We were there obeying rules that our parents set, and we have no issues with that. We don't even question. Today, this child is questioning me, why should I do it? You know, and you need to have answers for them. So the teen age is a very critical age where a parent needs to be present so that you may be able to mold this child the way you would want them to be. What kind of a citizen do you want out of this child? Right. So you need to be there to mold them. I know for parents who are working in business, you're not there 100% present, yes? But being there means, can we relate? Are we friends? Can we talk? Can you ask me questions and I answer them truthfully? You know, am I there when you need me? So we need to really create time. Let's stop taking our children to our grandparents for them to take care of them. They can go visit. We have camps that we have in our churches where they help a lot even to be able to bridge the gap in some of these things. But remember, even as you take them, you still have your responsibility as a parent. You must engage. You must be present.
You know, that's a very interesting thing that you have brought up because there always is activities, camps, groupings, there are sleepovers. I think our children in this age, they grow up feeling very unwanted. Because they're always being sent out.
Yeah.
If they're not being sent out to school, they're being sent out to the grandparents, they're being sent out to a holiday,
but I think, I think the objective of sending them out, I think it was matters. And if they are
you know, Sam, you got to sit on the side of the children. You know, you may understand your objective. You're thinking, okay, I'm busy and I want them to be engaged. But I want you to sit in the place of this 11-year-old, 13-year-old, 16-year-old who always comes and they're sent somewhere. How do you think they interpret that?
I think we do interpret like we are a burden or something like that, because I believe the church created these camps,
yes,
or all the organizations that are offering this out of complaint, because parents call, do you have any activity going on?
Yeah,
They
because I
actually
don't know
ask,
what to
yes.
do with
So
okay, you can,
and I think as parents, we've forgotten that that is our main role.
Oh, yes.
To be a parent to your child, to be there for them, not only to provide.
Oh, yes.
Because you can see the kind of attitude we have right now is provision, provision. Like, parents are so busy pumping things to their children. Like, you will talk or just engage and you will hear, I'm going to buy, you know, a toy for my child or a game. All those things, we are just pumping things. And you see the kind of culture we are actually putting into their lives is that it is things that matter, not the connection, the human connection. Over time, and I keep on thinking, if things were right at home, at the family level, we would not see the kind of society we have right now, whereby people are just driven by things, accumulating things for yourself, because they say family is the basic unit of a society. But because we are into things and provision, we will miss out. And later on in life, because I've seen this very closely from someone I know very closely, and they talk to us and tell us they're very wealthy, yes, but they have these 3 children whom they lost because of provision. Right now it's just blame game, because it's like you
and
are
it
the one.
happens a lot.
And it happens a lot.
Yeah,
So provision, as much as we are so busy trying to pump things to our children, it doesn't really matter. We lose them in the process.
I think,
and later on, they don't even enjoy the things that we worked so hard to accumulate.
for, yeah.
you know, I think when bringing up our children, we should always show them it's not about you know, material. There's a wholesome kind of you know, an upbringing whereby there is a social part of it. The social part of it is whereby you are told you're going to this camp for interaction purposes, and probably it's a religious camp or something like that. Then there is this activity whereby you go to a certain place to volunteer. They need to know that why they are being assigned such roles. But it is not something that should be abrupt, that leo amka, or we just wake up and go to this. It should, as parents, I think we should, you know, get these opportunities beforehand. Before they close, they know that on this particular date, there is a camp in our church. So that time I'll be here. And then when it comes to spending now time with them,
Because I was just about
yes,
to ask you about that, you know.
I realize that it is not about how many days you spend with them, but it is that quality time. For example,
Sammy,
yes.
yeah, you're making my conversations this morning very easy. Now, we are intentional about school, we're intentional about camps, we're intentional about other activities. Why are we not intentional about spending time with our children? Because you see, you have just brought up the issue of when it comes to spending time with them, it's not about the
How
amount
long?
of time.
Oh, okay.
But then when we take them to a camp,
Yes,
we
sir.
say you're there for 7 days. When we take them to school, you're there for 3 months.
Why
Are we not
they're used to
intentional?
this one thing. They're used to this. Number one, for example, when are we likely to take our families out? On weekend, maybe on weekend, maybe on Saturday, because they are at home for their holidays, but you are not at home yourself. You are still working from morning to evening. Your routine has not changed. So what happens now? This time,
Don't you
the
think
time.
that's where the intentionality comes in? I think that's where the intentionality comes in because you see, your children are on holiday for 2 months. Why don't you schedule your off days, your leave days, to align with the holidays of your children?
And that is what I'm saying, Pastor Chris. It is not about spending 2 months with them, but at least getting quality time with them. Quality time, it can be a day off just to see. But it does not mean that you're not monitoring. You're not monitoring. You leave a schedule to be followed from morning to evening. And then results. For example, there are workbooks. These kids are being given after every day to be, to work on during the holidays. Check every evening. Have you done it? Have you done A, B, C, D? And then probably let them know that they are being monitored by someone. For example, personally, I'm not at home from morning, but the mom is there. So anything that is not done as per
I
what we
now
have
see why
agreed.
you. I now see why you're trying to justify this thing of not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
but okay, go ahead.
I realize as Sam you're talking, I realize with the current situation, this thing of delegating entirely to the mother,
Yes.
like you're the one who is responsible, sometimes it may not work. Like both you, the father and the mother, needs to be there to show them the direction. You talk to young people, young women, they tell you they got their esteem from their fathers. Like there's something fathers play and there's something mothers play. So if you just delegate and I'm not saying you, and I think most fathers do that, they pay school fees, they pay rent, they pay everything, but when it comes to the discipline and knowing how their children are growing, they leave it to their mother. And I think that is a wrong thing.
You know, because there's been a lot of discussion over time concerning things like, absentee fathers. And in most cases, or rather in a lot of cases, they're not like they're elsewhere. They're around, but their presence cannot be felt. They provide, they sit over there, they watch TV, or they're chatting on phone. They're sitting out with the children in the mall, but they're spending most of the time on phone talking about business deals that they need to strike. They actually have to leave a school function, go and strike a deal and come back and all of that, So they're there, but they're not there. So these children never really get their heart. And no matter how much they just see you there, if they don't talk to you, if you don't talk to them, if they don't feel that they're the center or the object of your attention, they grow up feeling like they are not accepted. Because every child wants to impress their father. First of all, they want to impress their father. I had the opportunity to be raised by a mother. My father was also absent. I've shared that several times over here. He was working elsewhere. The benefit was that she was a teacher, so when schools close, then she's there. But you still feel that absence of not having a father present with you. And that's why, again, I talked about the intentionality, like parents also trying to schedule themselves. It may not be 2 months, but you can actually be with your family for a week during the holidays and spend the time with them for a week, and then you go back.
Yeah, and what I think is all about balancing. For example, you spend 8 hours at work, and probably you are going to a class maybe in the evening. But at least before, one thing about kids during holidays, they don't sleep early. I don't know whether it is just my house, but they sleep around at midnight. So yeah, if you get to the house maybe at 8, you have 4 quality hours of time with your kids. So even for the fathers who are working, there's no justification that you can put on the table as a reason why you are not available for your kids. And then this thing is about talking, within yourselves and agreeing that the mother is not working. Currently, my wife is nursing. You are responsible for the 8 hours I'm away. And I'll help you to reinforce. Because, when the father says, do this and this and this, there's that fear. And, it has shaped us. That's why we are where we are. Because of, we grew up knowing that the father will beat, and not just beat, but thoroughly do it. So I help in enforcing discipline. But now, please pay close attention. For those parents who have mothers working and fathers working, there is that person that you've trusted with your kids. Kindly help them. Don't just leave everything to them. You will cry later. Yeah, because you need to monitor every activity, and then you need also to have a good relationship with the person that you have entrusted your kids with. They should tell you A, B, C, D. That I heard them mention a certain name, a certain insult. I don't know where they collected it from. Follow to the letter, to the details, and then from there work on now, correcting where there are issues.
Milky, I come back to you. Sometimes I think we as parents are afraid to be in quiet spaces with children because we don't know how to connect. They've spent a lot of time either with their friends, their teachers, at school. They're used to doing other things. So we are coming to connect with them. We don't know, apart from asking, how was school today? What did you learn? We don't know how to go further than that. And sometimes, because even the parents never would have a lot of conversations with their parents, so they also are either very quiet or they just are very uncomfortable. And the children are also not used to the parents talking with them a lot more. How do we break that? How do we break that ice? What are the kind of conversations that we should try to find our way getting into, especially from teenage levels and going up?
Okay, I think understanding your child and knowing them will help you a lot. How do you understand your child? How do you get to know this child? It is by relating with them. Small talk. For example, when we are in the kitchen and I call and ask, can you help me do the dishes? Can you help me arrange the cups? So as we are doing that work in the kitchen, we get to converse. And you see, when we are conversing with this young person, with this teenager, don't go like you're digging for information, because they will block you.
All right.
Yes, they don't want you to know things about them. So make it as casual.
I was just thinking about that, how some parents will get like, you don't talk.
Yeah, you say that immediately.
They
They
block
block
you.
you, yes, and you will not get any information. So there's a gap, so you don't get to relate, you don't even know this child. And that's why you are fearing, now which topic can we discuss, But if you know your child, you know their interests. You know what they like doing. Why don't you talk about that? They like football. My son, the teen one, likes sports. He's into this learning about animals and the like. So I get to ask those things like, okay, so what do you think? I don't like this animal, blah, blah, blah. Things like that. What interests them? Then in that conversation, you can now bring in the real life issues. It's like it was just a casual conversation, but out of it, we have learned something.
Sammy, don't you think that these conversations, sometimes children find it easier to have conversations with their mothers?
Yes.
Yeah, that one.
Because I've got boys who love football.
Yes.
I've got boys. Man, I try to be there. I travel sometimes based on work and other things. But when schools are closed, I limit my traveling. In fact, I rarely travel when schools are closed. I travel when schools are open. So I try to be there, try to do all of this stuff. But still, when they want to talk about their dreams about football or something, I still hear it from their mother.
I think there's this aspect of fathers that kids fear. You are too serious.
You represent authority.
Yeah, you are an authority
You
probably,
don't laugh at baby.
and they fear now. Sharing with you and then probably getting maybe a negative kind of feedback. But you know, mothers are very friendly. Yeah, and I think even as fathers, there are kids who are very close to fathers, and they share everything with their fathers. I think it depends on their upbringing, whereby you start from an early age. This, apart from being a father, are you afraid? Are you afraid to your kid? And you know, friends share love, and sometimes you even I know of parents who are close friends to their girls, to their daughters. They share everything with their fathers because they from day one, and that's why we are accused as men that we are close to girl, the girl child more than the boy child. But you know, I think it works automatically, but also for boys, uh, if we develop that friendly, approach from the word go, I think
We may get some results.
yeah, we get the same result.
All right. We could talk about this over and over and over, but I hope that the conversation today has been insightful to you. We also want to hear your thoughts and your views. Remember, the hashtag is K10 Life and Style, and talk to Pastor Chris. Keep the conversation going. Let's hear your thoughts, your views, your questions, any contribution that you want to make. And if you have a topic that you think that we should be discussing, please write us an email, lifeandstyle@sanamedia.co.ke. From me right here and the panel, well, have a lovely day. But Crystal is coming up next with Style with Crystal, so don't go anywhere.